Before we dive into the latest updates around Justin Simmons, the top free agent available in the NFL, I need to encourage you to subscribe to the channel because we're going to be keeping you updated on all things around Justin Simmons. Anytime there's an update, anytime there's a new report, we're going to have you covered. So join the almost 30,000 people who trust us to give them their Saints information. Lock us in today and hit that sub button for updates around Justin Simmons. So let's talk about why Justin Simmons. Before we talk about what's it going to cost, what will happen, when is it going to happen, let's talk about why first. So I've shown this graphic plenty of times on the show. He's one of the best safeties in the league. There's no question about it. And on top of that, he adds depth to the secondary, and he improves the team so much more. And then another thing I really like is the argument about Jordan Howden and Justin Simmons, I think, is legitimate. I think Jordan Howden is a good player, but we heard Dennis Allen say we're not sure we have that position figured out quite yet next to Tyrann Mathieu. The exact quote was, I'm pulling it up. I'm sorry, guys. This is bad radio. The exact quote was, I don't think we're set at that position opposite of Tyrann. So I think that Jordan Howden is a good player. I just think when it comes to having Justin Simmons, he's a great player. He also adds a lot of swagger, experience, production. There's no doubt about it. He is a highly productive player, and he's been one of the best players since entering the league. And on top of that, the duo between Tyrann Mathieu and Justin Simmons would be absolutely unstoppable. I mean, look at the production that the free agent has had over the past 4 years. The fact that the Broncos just straight up cut him and didn't try to trade him was absolutely crazy to me. I mean, last season, sure, 2 tackles for loss, 3 interceptions and 2 forced fumbles. But he also had 70 tackles. Last year, he had 69 tackles, or 2022, he had 69 tackles. That's very nice. He had 6 interceptions. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is exceptional. And then the coverage stats are absolutely nuts too. And I want to show you a picture here in just a second to show how good the duo of Tyrann Mathieu and Justin Simmons are when it comes to the interceptions. I mean, you see the coverage stats on your screen right here. He only gave up 324 yards, 3 touchdowns, 8 pass breakups, and 3 interceptions. Guys, this is a player who could make a massively positive impact on the roster starting day one. And this is a really cool picture that I saw get tweeted out on X. I got X'd out, tweeted out, whatever you want to call it. I thought it was really telling because even Tyrann Mathieu, he quote tweeted this. If you look in right here, this is the interception leaders since 2019. So in the last 5 years, Justin Simmons and J.C. Jackson are tied for number 1. Wait, who's that at number 2? Ooh, Tyrann Mathieu. So you're telling me on this roster, you could have the top 2 out of the top 3 best safeties when it comes to forcing turnovers and intercepting the ball on your roster. Why would you not go do that? I mean, look at this possible defensive back group. It is dangerous. It's scary. This team could be elite. I mean, the top 5 right there, you could take any one of those players and put them on any of the other 31 teams and they're starting. You could take a good amount of those backups and have some faith in them. I mean, I also have some faith in some of the 3rd and 4th string guys. I'm not saying I want them to be starters, but in a rotation and in a certain situation, it's hard for me to not want to be in on this. Like, Justin Simmons just makes way too much sense because of the fit, and on top of that, the connections he has to the Saints. His defensive coordinator back in 2016 was Joe Woods. 2016 is when Justin Simmons was drafted. Do you know who the current defensive coordinator is for the Saints? It's not Dennis Allen. He's the head coach. It's Joe Woods. What about Marcus Robertson? He's the current defensive backs coach. You know where he was before this? He was out in Denver back in 2017 to 18. You know who else was in Denver around that time? You know who was playing at a really high level at that time? The guy pictured right there, Justin freaking Simmons. This move makes too much sense, guys. It has to go down. If I'm Mickey Loomis, I'm sitting here saying, I'm giving you a check. I'm giving you a good amount of guaranteed money. You will be on an excellent defense. You will be playing next to some of your top players who, for the record, I forgot to mention, Will Harris is very good friends with Justin Simmons as well. They were They went to college at Boston College at the same time. Harris was a freshman. Simmons was a senior. So, like, there's so many connections. There's so many ties. And not to mention the respect and the mutual admiration that both Tyrann Mathieu and Justin Simmons have for each other. I mean, when Simmons was cut, Tyrann Mathieu was one of the first players to get vocal about it and say he's going to land on his feet. It's going to be fine. I'm rooting for him. Hey, maybe his feet will land in the bayou because that would be pretty damn cool. Now let's talk about the cost because that is something we need to address. The New Orleans Saints roughly have about $14 million to spend, and that's just for this year. Now, if we're talking about signing Hunter Renfrow or signing Jarvis Landry or signing some low-end offensive lineman, I'm in the camp of save that money. You're not going to get anybody in some of these positions that's going to make an impact as positive or better than guys currently on your roster. But when you have players like Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs not even making $5 million, it's up to $5 million. It's not guaranteed $5 million. Jamal Adams is getting the vet minimum. Marcus May, who was with the Saints, $1.4 million. Eddie Jackson, $1.5 million. Von Bell, $6 million. If you're sitting here telling me that the New Orleans Saints can't get something done, I don't know what to say because I think that that's a load of shit. The New Orleans Saints absolutely can afford to make this happen. I would much rather spend the money on Justin Simmons than save it. Like, hear me out. What about, I don't know, a 2-year, $12 million contract? 10 of that's fully guaranteed. Well, first of all, you have Eddie Jackson, who's making $6 million, so you're going to be at that number. I can even be convinced to backload some of it or give a bunch of it up front. So that way, maybe you spend a little bit more this year, but we're not spending nearly as much next year. My point being, if you can guarantee him $10, $11, $12 million over the next 2 years, absolutely worth it. And not to mention, look at this. We talked about the interception leaders in the last 5 years. Do what? This is wild. Yeah, producer Reed in my ear saying, I actually can't believe this. He hadn't seen this graphic before we got on the show. This is nuts. So you see the guy right here, number 1 in interceptions since 2016. Guy we've been talking about this whole entire video. Now, what about him? What about that guy? Reed, I forgot. What team does Tyrann Mathieu play for right now? Oh, that's right, the Saints. What? What? You're telling me the 2 best interception artists in the league at safety, or cornerback for that matter, you're telling me you can have both of them? Are you kidding me? I'm all in on that. I am all in. $12 million over the next 2 years? Yeah, sign me the F up. You know what you should sign up for is the Game Time app. If you haven't already, I highly encourage you to check out Game Time today. It's the best place to get last-minute tickets for the lowest price. And actually a really cool thing about Game Time is the prices actually drop as the event gets closer. So if you're like me and you're a procrastinator and you like going to live stuff like concerts and comedy shows and all sorts of fun sporting events, you should check out the Game Time app because it's the app for you. When you download the Game Time app and you use code CHATSPORTS, you will get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, and I have all that information in the comment section and description of this video. But I've been able to create a lot of memories by going to Saints games in the past. I've been to a bunch of concerts recently, and on top of that, I'm trying to get my girl some tickets to go watch some college ball this upcoming football season, and I'm using Game Time. And you should do the same thing. One more time, terms do apply. Use code CHATSPORTS when you download the Game Time app. That's code CHATSPORTS. It's code CHATSPORTS. You get $20 off your first purchase. Again, the information is in the comment section and description of this video. I highly encourage you to go check it out. So let's take a look at the current defensive back group. We saw what it was with Justin Simmons. It was great. I even think this was great. But when Dennis Allen is saying that he isn't necessarily sure about the starter next to Tyrann Mathieu, makes me wonder, should we go make the call and go put pen to paper? And I want to add this one thing here also. When it comes to Justin Simmons, his PFF rankings, they're not like the 42 out of 95, whatever. 31 out of 88, whatever. 16 out of 92, whatever. 8 out of 94. Like, I'm going to be consistent with this. When it's bad, don't mind it too much. When it's good, sure, it makes you feel a little bit better about your player, but PFF grades and PFF rankings are not the end-all be-all. And the fact that Justin Simmons actually is the one who initiated these conversations. These have been going on since earlier in the spring. Dennis Allen and the New Orleans Saints have been in discussion with Justin Simmons' agency group and with his agent, I guess you could say, for a while now. And when it comes down to whether or not the Saints could sign him now, he showed interest. He is the one who's like, the Saints did not go and pursue Justin Simmons right now. Maybe they did earlier in the offseason. But right now, he did not go and say, this Mickey Loomis, this is a Mickey Loomis. He did not say, call him up, say, hey, Justin, you want to come play in New Orleans? It'd be really fun. You get to play next to Tyrann Mathieu and all that cool stuff. That conversation didn't happen. The conversation was, I'm interested in what you guys have. I'm interested in what you're doing. I'd like to come and take a visit. It was not a workout. It was a visit. One more reminder, we will be live for every single game this season. Hopefully Justin Simmons is going to be a part of that. Hopefully he's rocking the black and gold. And I can tell you right now, if he does sign, we're going to have a lot of fun. And just because I'm so confident in Justin Simmons signing, I'm going to go ahead and give it a preemptive cheers. Cheers to you, Justin Simmons. If you sign in New Orleans, there's a whole lot more where this came from. I got to end this video. Y'all stay golden. We'll see you next time.